today we will be using the Oracle Apex application development server. There are plenty of options for Apex. You need to provision an Apex workspace, and you can provision this on the new Oracle Apex development service, which was launched just yesterday, or the Oracle Autonomous Database, or the free evaluation version of apex.oracle.com. Now, for today's hands-on lab, we will be using option 1, Oracle Apex Application Development Service. So if you have signed up for the cloud account before and you forgot the link, just simply find it in your inbox, and the email will have a title that says, "Get started now with Oracle Cloud." Make a note for your username, password, and the cloud account name. If you remember all this, you just simply skip to cloud.oracle.com and provide the cloud account name and your username and password, which is basically the username is your email. And then you will be in the OCI console. So I'm gonna run a quick poll. Yes, option 2 is not possible, or set up a workspace called demo. Yeah, well, we're not gonna use, please, option 2. Let's concentrate on option 1 now. All right. So I'm gonna run a quick poll to see how many finished the cloud sign up. So just say yes if you are done and you are in the Oracle Cloud console. Please don't start the lab yet. We will start together. We still have enough time. So just say yes if you are already in the Cloud console, OCI. Perfect. So we still have some people. Please make sure that you finish the sign up process. Okay, so most of you guys are done. Can you please don't start yet, please? So I need to make sure that most of you have already created an Oracle Cloud account. I pasted the links again. So the first link is the one to sign up for the Oracle Cloud. The second link is today's hands-on lab. What we will be doing in this lab, we will be actually creating a spreadsheet replacement app. So we have a data. It's in spreadsheet format, CSV, and we, or XLS or whatever, you can drag and drop, but we will use the data that comes from within Apex. So we ship some data model, and we will use that data. We will upload it to a table, and then from that table, we will create an app, and the app, without a single line of coding, will create some pages for us. So some types of those pages will be the Faceted search, report, form, and a calendar. We will work into improving and enhancing all these components. So I'll walk you through the option 1, and I'll sign up for the Oracle Apex instance or Apex service. So please, you can follow me up with this. So first, you go to the navigation menu icon here and go to Apex Application Development, Apex Instances. In my case, because I have created a couple of services before, a couple of Apex services before, so you will see it here. Just make sure that you are on the root compartment, and then you can create an Apex service. You don't have to change anything here. The only thing that you have to put is the password. And this password, it could be the same as your cloud account if you want to, but it's actually a different one. So that's a different account. This is the admin account that you will use to manage your Apex service. All right. So that's it. So just remember the password and hit create Apex service. Now it will start provisioning the Apex service. Ideally, it should take around a minute or a couple of minutes maximum. So we will wait this icon to change from orange to green. So again, guys, go to the menu icon here, Apex Application Development, Apex Instances, and hit Create Apex Service button. Make sure that you use the compartment, the root compartment, and hit the Create Apex Service button. Keep everything as default and just put a password for the admin account for your Apex service. Yeah, if you can't find the create button, that means probably you are not selecting the compartment. Just make sure that you are selecting. So some people said, why can't I use my Apex? You can, your autonomous database option, you can do that, but that's option 2. So for this lab, we will follow option 1. So we need you to use the Apex application development instance. Please note that the moment that you create it, and it should be green now. I think I should click on it and refresh. That takes a bit more than usual. Yeah, so anyway, so probably because I created way too many instances. So the moment that it's green, you can see that the launch Apex button is enabled, and you can, yeah, most of you should be green now. So just click on the launch Apex. But just a note, Apex Application Development Service is a paid service. And because you are still in the trial, this might consume your credit. So after the lab, after you finish the lab today, just make sure you follow these steps underneath the note to stop it. You have to go to the database, and you have to go to more actions and stop. So don't do it now. This is to be done later. So cool. So then now, because you need to provision an Apex workspace. So put a password. This is the same password that we put as the admin, and sign in to administration. So you don't have any workspace yet. It's a fresh new service, and there is no Apex workspace. You need a workspace in order to be able to create an app. Yeah, so it took longer than usual, to be honest, on my region. This is Dubai region. So I'll launch the Apex. If it is still yellow, just make sure that you refresh. Sometimes your browser maybe will not get the notification from the server for some reason. So just refresh the page. And there you go. So what will happen now, I'll use the same password that I used to create the instance, and it will ask me to create a workspace. So I can do that. You should use, you put a database user and a workspace name. So remember, the password that you will put here is for your administrator for the workspace of Apex. So now you have 3 main passwords. One password is for your Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, one for the Apex instance, and one for the workspace. Okay, so I'm going to use my name. I'll put just the same password, and then I will put the same workspace name as the database user. And then I will hit create workspace. Perfect. So now you have created your workspace, and you can log into that workspace. So your workspace name, for me, it was Salim, and the user that I put was Salim again. And then the password is the same password that I put there. And now I am in the workspace. You can change. This is a cool feature. I like it in the recent Apex versions. You can change it to the dark mode, or you can keep it automatic, or you can make it light mode. So I'll leave it automatic for now. Okay, so many of you have done it. Just to revise very quickly, you need to go to your cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Console, and go to Apex Application Development, Apex Instance, create an instance, put a password, don't forget it, and then after it has been provisioned and available, launch Apex. It will ask you for the same password that you used, the admin password. Put that password, create a workspace, and the moment you are done with the workspace, you will be able to be here. So now we will move to, we're done with all this, and we will move to lab 1. So what we will do in lab 1, we will load the project and tasks, data, create an app, and run it. So expand all the steps, follow them. You should take around 5 minutes to do that. So I'll leave you do it yourself, and then at the end of the 5 minutes, I'll do it very quickly for you. So the link to the Apex hands-on lab has been posted for everyone on the chat. That's the link where you should go. Make sure that you are, if you are done with the prerequisite and option 1, if you have created your Apex application development service, and you have created your workspace, your Apex workspace, and you are inside Apex, then you should move to lab number 1, which is creating an app from a spreadsheet. This should take 5 minutes following the steps here. If you have any questions, please post it in the chat, and we will try to help you as much as possible. So in 4 minutes time, I'll be doing it for you guys live. So guys, even if you haven't created your cloud account yet, it's not too late. You can do it very quickly. Just follow the link that we put in the chat. I'll put it again, just for those people who joined a bit late. So the first link, oracle.com/vs-apex email. This is where you sign up for a cloud account. Log into your OCI console, create an Apex service, and then an Apex workspace, and then follow the steps in lab number 1. So I'll be doing it a bit quickly for you guys. So we will go to the app builder and create a new app. And then we will select from a file, and then make sure that you select copy and paste. Now, if you have your own Excel sheet, you can just drag it here. CSV, text file, XML, JSON. So Apex support all these files, but we will use the data, that a sample data set that comes from Apex. So I'll select projects and tasks, and then I'll call this project tasks, and then load the data. If everything is fine, then you should see that 73 rows have been created. So the table has been created, project tasks, with 73 rows. If you view the table, this is your table. These are the different columns, the different data types that Apex Engine figured out from the data set. And there is a button here that says Create App. So I'll click on that, click on Create App. And then simply select all the features. So the engine will create an about page for me, an access control, a feedback, and all these bunch of features. And hit Create Application button. And that's it. So you just hit create application, and at the back end, Apex Engine will parse the data and it will create all these pages for you. The next step is to hit the run application, put the username and password, and start your app. So basically, this is what you will see. And that's the end of lab number 1. Yeah, so you can see the link and you can navigate from here or go to the home. So I can see project task search. We call this faceted search with all these options here, all different facets, and a report. So coming back to the lab, we will move to lab 2. We will improve this faceted search. So what we will do, we will change the type of status, and then we will move it a little bit up. So currently, status is down with different checkboxes. Now I need to change that behavior. I'll make it a ready button, and then I'll make sure that the status facet is a little bit up here. And in order to do that, by visiting this page, project task search, and clicking on edit page free, and going to these facet status here, I'll change the type and I'll follow the steps as in lab number 2. So this should take around 10 minutes. Could be done faster. So I'll give you some time to do it on your own, and then after almost 10 minutes, I'll do it very quickly for you. Yeah, I'm not talking. I'm actually leaving it to you guys to finish those 2 steps. So we are still in lab number 2. Don't move to 3. If you're done with 2, please stay. Just make sure that you follow the steps here. What you need to do is to change the status type facet and to move it a little bit up so it's underneath the project facet, and change a couple of configurations. So go to home, visit project task search page by clicking on the menu item or the list item, and then click edit page 3. So you are in page 3. So anyway, so let's do it quickly. I think my screen has changed a bit. Just give me a second. Okay, so we'll go to the lab here and let's see what the lab is asking us to do. So it says, visit project task search page. Click on it, either from the menu here or from the home link. So we are in that page, and then click edit page 3. You are now in Apex App Builder in page 3. Select facet P3 status and change its type to radio group. And then after you do that, make sure that the 0 count entries shows last. So you can search to make it easier for you here. So 0 last entry, I want to show it at last. Okay. And then I'm going to take that facet and drag it. So click on it, hold the button, and then just drag it underneath project. Then save and run, hit save and run to see the changes. And then as you see, now you have the status facet underneath project, and it becomes as ready button group or ready option or ready group. Now, if you select one of them, if there are any nulls, they actually show at last. Now, that was step number 1. Oh, we did not finish. You can actually click on this show chart button to show a chart. So this will show you the total counts for the projects, and you can see it either in bar chart or pie chart. So just click on the type of the chart here. And this is applicable to all the facets by default. So we're done with this step. So next step is we have some facets. Probably they are not that important compared to others. So I would like to make them collapsed by default. So it says that assigned to budget and cost, I'm going to use the shift key and then search for collapsed and just make sure that initially collapsed is switch on. And then I'll save it. So now what happens is they are by default, they are collapsed. So this is the initial state of these facets. So that's for lab 2. So lab 3, we're going to work on enhancing the interactive report and the forms. So part of the pages that has been created in this lab, if you go to the home, there is one page called Project Tasks Report. And if you click on it, it has this wonderful component called Interactive Report. You will be able to filter things and search for stuff easily. And that interactive report is linked to a form. So if you click on that edit view icon, it will allow you to change the data for that row. So lab number 3 should take a little bit more time. We are running out of time, so I'll give it 10 minutes. You can actually finish in 10 minutes. And probably to make it faster, how about I'll do it together with you guys. We will go to the interactive report, click on the project, and click on this control break icon. So what it does is it will group items per that column. So because I clicked on the project, so this is the first projects and these are the different tasks underneath it. And then this is the second project and the different task underneath it and so on. Then I will go to actions again, data and compute, and create a virtual column that will actually show me budget versus cost. So I'll go to actions, data, compute, and that's the name. The format mask, we will use this format mask, and we will use budget minus cost and apply. So there you go. So you have now one column. So anything in positive should be fine. Anything in negative might be an issue for me because I budgeted something, but it costed me a little bit more. So we will continue in this lab. Now we will add an aggregate. So and we will do the aggregate for the newly created column. So we'll go to data, aggregate, and I'll make sure that it is sum. And then the column that I would like to aggregate is budget versus cost. So for this project, overall, we are still in positive. We're saving 500. So this one, 2,750. So it looks like it was over budgeted. Great. The next step is I will add a chart. You can follow me one by one, step by step, or if you like, you can do it on your own. But because we are running out of time, so let me do it a bit quickly. So what I will do is I'll add a chart and I'll select bar chart and I'll put projects here and the value will be budget versus cost. And then I'll do sum. The label will be ascending. That's how we would like to sort on the chart. And we would love to make the chart horizontal. So if you go to the lab, that's exactly what we're doing here. Okay, so let me apply it. So in the interactive report, you will be having this beautiful chart that shows you, if you hover over the chart, you can see the project. And you can see that this one, for example, was hugely over budgeted, while this project was under budgeted because it's in the minus. So now I have the chart created for me. The next step is I would love to sort, and I would love to sort with multiple columns. So I will start with the start date, end date. So let me go to the sort. I'm sorry, let me go to the report first. Data, sort, and then what we will do is we will start with the start date, end date, and then nulls. Start date, end date, and then null sorting should be always last. All right, and we will apply. So the first sort column will be the start date, and the second one will be the end date. So just by looking at this report now, I can know that this task is sorted on this order by the start date. And if two tasks share the same start date, then end date will be used as a second column for sorting. Finally, I would like to save the report, and I would love to call it budget review. So I'm gonna go to report, save, and because I am a developer, I'll be able to save it as an alternative report. This will be available to all my end users. So now it comes as a budget review report. So if I go to the primary, reset my report, I still can go back to my budget review. So all the filters, everything that I have done with the compute and everything, it's actually preserved for me. And this will be available to all the end users, not only me. So the moment you're done, then you go to the form, and this is where you enhance the form. So we don't like the way that the items are laid out. I would like to have the end date next to the start date and assign to next, I think, to the status. Let's do that. With the budget next to cost. So let's do it. So open the form. And the moment you open the form, you can actually edit that particular page. So from the developer toolbar, go to edit page 5. And then we will go to the end date, put it next to the start date, budget, put it next to the cost. And I think that's it. Now there are multiple ways of doing that. So you can either drag and drop, or you can select it and say that this does not start on a new row. So it will put it next to the item above that. So I think that's it. And then for the P status, I would like to make it a SQL query. So what is P status? So this is the status that we have here. Now, currently it's a text field. I would like to have a select list. So I will basically move to that one and copy the code here and put it there. So this is the status. It's gonna be select list, or I can use the short one here very quickly. So select list, and it is a SQL query. Let me paste my query. I don't want to display any extra values. And if there is any null value, I would like to select status and then save. And the moment I open that form again, what happens is these two items are next to each other. These two items are next to each other, and the status is a select list. All right. So that's basically, I think that's it for this lab. Wow. Yeah. So it's pretty easy. All what you need to do is to enhance the interactive report, customize it a bit so You have this compute column, different sort, the aggregation. You're adding a chart, and then you're saving that report for your end users so they can utilize later on. And then you're opening the form that's linked to that interactive report. You are putting items next to each other, and then you're changing the status item to be a select list based on a SQL query. And where we're getting the values, we are getting the values from the same table that we have created from the spreadsheet. Okay. So we have still 7 minutes. I'll go a bit quickly also on the calendar and what the calendar looks like. So let's see it. If I click on the calendar page, I see all these different projects here, right? Okay. So I want to link. So the lab is asking us to improve the calendar by changing the task name and the end date. So instead of a project, I will pick the task name. So I'll show the tasks, not the projects. And I'll put also the end date. So let's do it. We are in the calendar page. I'm gonna edit that. I will select the calendar component and the attributes. Make sure that you click on the attributes tab. So instead of project, I'll put task name and I will put end date for the end date column. So let me save and click and run. That shows so many tasks, right? Probably not the best that we want to show. So if you continue, it will actually ask you to clear the end date. So I don't want to show the tasks spanned over all the days. So let me just remove the end date and run it now. Looks much better. So these are the different tasks. After I cleared out the end date column. Now, one more thing I need to do, and final, is to link the task to the form. So go to the calendar component. And view edit link. And in here, I would like to link to page 5. I'm gonna pass the P5 ID with the value of the ID for that task. I'll reset the pagination and probably clear it. I don't know if that's, yeah, I think that's it. Now, if I run the calendar, I'll be able to link to the same form that was used in the interactive report. So the same form can be used from multiple places. So this time, I played a little bit with the calendar, and in no time, I could easily link it to the same form. So if you're not done with those 2 labs that I've shown you, please continue doing it. You can ask any question in the chat. We still have 4 minutes or almost, yeah, 4 minutes. Oh, one more thing that we missed in this step is we need to create something called dynamic action. So the moment that you change anything in the form, once the form is closed, your calendar will be refreshed and the changes will be seen. So you can see the changes. So let's do it. So you go to the calendar, right click and create dynamic action. All right. So what does it say? It says that for that dynamic action, I need to give it that name. So refresh calendar. And then when I want that dynamic action to be triggered is when the dialog is closed, the dialog that I opened from the calendar. And the selection type is region, and the region that I'm targeting is calendar. So let's go and name it here. So that's the refresh calendar. And the event is when my dialog is closed, and that's the region that I'm targeting. It's the calendar region. All right, so what action would I like to do is to refresh, right? So the moment that I close that dialog, because I changed some data, it's a form, remember? So I would like to refresh. Which region I would like to refresh is the calendar region. So I will change the type or the action to refresh, and it's gonna be a region, and it's my calendar region. So now if I save, and now let's try to change something here. So plan migration, let's say plan migration schedule task. So I will put 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then apply the changes. So what will happen is it will refresh my calendar, and it will show you now that the task has been changed. Or I could even change the starting date and make it second instead of first, and then it will go to the second. It will refresh. So we're almost done. We have only 1 minute. At the end, I would like to thank everybody for participating in Apex Hands-on Lab. And I would like also to share a few links in the chat. Just give me a second. So these are the probably quite important links that you can follow. So apex.oracle.com is our Oracle Apex official site. Please feel free to visit it. Look at the different tutorials, different sections of the site. These are the different social accounts that we have: the Twitter account, the Facebook, the official group of LinkedIn, and the official Instagram account. Thank you very much again for being here today. You can continue the lab, and don't forget to stop your Apex service, because as I said, it's a paid service. So in order not to consume the credits that you have, hope to see you in the future in different hands-on labs. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye-bye.